Hello, my name is Richard Tayson, and I am the instructor for the Poetry and the Creative Process course summer edition. So, welcome to the class. The purpose of this short video is to give you a quick course overview and to tell you why I'm qualified to teach the class. So, the course brings together all the arts beneath the umbrella of poetry. And so the idea is that all the arts can be seen in poetry. For instance, the visual arts may be seen in imagery in poetry, or musical arts in the sounds of language in poetry. And so it depends on how one approaches the writing of poetry in terms of what one sees and is able to identify in poems, and therefore to access in one's ability to write in such fashion. And so what we're doing is practicing the ideas or technical abilities found in other arts and seeing them in the creation of a poem. So, for instance, the dramatic monologue assignment enables you as a writer to take on a persona and to present that persona the way one would, let's say, in writing a script for an actor to present on a stage. And so we have all of these different arts, from cinema to other visual arts to dance to music, as I stated earlier, and then acting again, all funneling into the writing of poems. Uh, on the way or during the voyage of writing poems in the class, you will be able to access the language of poetry in terms of technical language. What's alliteration, what's assonance, what's consonants, as well as different identifiers that align with the other arts as they apply to poetry. So part of our jobs in the class is to have vocabulary with which to discuss poems. And the discussion of these poems is crucial to our class. So unlike lecture courses, this course is a workshop close to a studio class. In other words, the students are speaking to each other as much as to the teacher, and the teacher is speaking to each student and to the class as a whole. And so it's not like a class where you can complete X, Y, and Z and be finished. Rather, it's a discussion oriented participatory class in which each week you will be asked to submit assignments or submit comments regarding the works of other people in the class. Therefore, part of our jobs also is to learn how to respond critically to poems. So the vocabulary that I mentioned earlier, or the terminology, is one of the ways that we find, or one of the avenues we find into the discussion of people's poems. So we're learning critical language. We're also learning how to begin a poem, how to revise a poem, what to do in situations where we run up against not knowing what to do, all of which, of course, is part of the creative process in all of the arts. So I think, as you can see, the course relates to the creative process in any endeavor that one chooses to pursue. And so when we are talking about creativity in the class, another component, you all are reading a single book according to whichever group you're in, and that will become clear upon reading the syllabus. You're in a group, and that group is small, and that small group is reading a book and then making a video about the discussion of that book to be presented to others in the class. So there are 3 groups and therefore 3 video presentations, the purpose of which is to expose all of us to different views of what people do in the creative process. So we're talking about the creative process, we're talking about poems, we're talking about your poems in particular, and we're talking about published poems as well. So what allows me to teach this class? First and foremost, I am not a person who's enamored of specialization. So I have spent my life involved in multiple arts and sort of shunning the idea of just being grounded in one art. It's just not my nature. So I find myself very interested in studying film and studying poetry and studying fiction, nonfiction, uh, and I've had interactions with many painters and many who produce photographs and other arts. So I am using my anti specialization. Is that the way I want to say it? I'm not sure. I'm using my interest in all of the arts to expose you in this class to various ways of approaching the writing of poems through the other arts. So that's first and foremost. Secondly, I have been a music major. I've been a dance minor. I've been various other majors throughout the years before arriving in the English department at Colorado State University, which is where I studied for my BA before transferring over to NYU for my master's. And then I studied poetry and again music for my doctoral research. So I wrote a dissertation about Patti Smith, the East Village underground kind of early prototypical punk artist, as she relates to William S. Burroughs and Allen Ginsberg and Sonic Youth and the band X from Los Angeles, as well as William Blake in England in the 18th/19th centuries. So all of that is to say that I'm interested in multiple expressive capabilities, and I've been unable or unwilling to choose one. I wrote 2 books of poems, and the first one won the Wick Poetry Prize. I've written many essays. I wrote a book of nonfiction and have recently completed a second book of nonfiction. The first one was much easier than the second. The first one took less than 2 years. The second one took 12 and a half years. And it still gives me a headache to think about it. And it has to do with music and poetry. So those are some of my qualifications for teaching the class. I have taught at the New School since, get ready for this, 1996. Okay. So I was on the ground floor of online teaching way before COVID happened. So I've been teaching online since 1996, as well as on-site classes. And I have a lot of experience setting up the modules and the class structure. So I'm hoping that you will do the following next. First, listen to the walkthrough of Canvas video on this same homepage. Secondly, read the syllabus. Don't miss the syllabus. That has everything you need to know in terms of how much you need to participate, what counts in attendance, and what the assignments are, and sort of a general sense of what the class is, because it's not, again, being a workshop, it's not like other courses in which participation is not always mandatory. So here, participation is crucial. So then after you've spent some time with the syllabus, then use the module tab on the left-hand side of the homepage to access each week's assignments. So, and that's crucial for the class. You don't want to use anything but the modules link, because what you get out of that is what I mentioned in the other video. You get a page that tells you, oh, this week I have this, this, and this to do. Okay, so please use modules. And then in week 1, the start week, go into introductions and introduce yourself to everybody and respond to other introductions. So I hope that gets you going in terms of welcoming you to the class and orienting you for what to do next. And I look forward to meeting each of you and to talking throughout the summer about what poetry is and how it relates to all the other arts through the creative process. Thank you for listening.